Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Orchids webinar. We're gonna give other people just a couple more seconds so they can join us, and then we'll get started soon. Okay, so let's get started. Once again, welcome everyone to the Orchids webinar. Today we'll be sharing with you how to shorten your design cycle with the Orchids platform. Before we get started, I want to show you around a little bit the platform that we're using today. Of course, to the left, you have the big screen. Yoram is sharing his screen, so you'll see our presentation. To the right, you have two tabs. One is for the chat, so feel free to say hello, drop any comments throughout the presentation, any questions that you might have. And then there's a second tab specific for questions if you prefer to drop them there. We'll be getting to those towards the end of our presentation later today. Just so you have a better experience, towards the lower right of your screen, there's a full screen mode. We encourage you to click on that one so you can see the Orchids platform up close and see how awesome it works and all the details for just a better viewing experience. So yes, feel free to say hi as we get started, and I'm gonna pass it along to Yoram. He'll take you for the rest of the presentation. Bye.
Thank you, Monica, and good morning or good evening for everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today. I'm Yoram Berg. I'm VP of Sales over here at Embodee. And to those that never attended any of our previous webinars, Embodee is in the business of 3D web-based product design and visualization. To date, we have been working with brands and retailers on B2C experiences. And for the past year or so, we have been developing Orchids, a first of its kind 3D platform. And today we will focus you on shortening your development cycle, but from a different perspective than how the traditional 3D experience typically is. So on the call with me today is Brent Urbanski. He's our Director of Production over here at Embodee. And so are many of you as well. So thank you very much for joining. Let's take a look at what the current process looks like, and more importantly, the times that it takes or the way the process collectively is built up. On the left-hand side, we start off with apparel designers who may be working with 2D and 3D in doing things like line art, sketches, or pretty much the creative design portion of the work. Technical artists, again, whether they're using 2D and to a degree also 3D, are using tools to create patterns that are later on communicated to the factories. Factory samples are being created for product development. And we can also start seeing already how these circles of communication in a very linear process are start showing up, being dependent one on the other as the process progresses. Between factory sample sign-offs and the original sample creation, we have the 2D graphic designers where in the manual process, pretty much you'll find them doing any labels for interiors, working with several fabrics and whatnot. And between the sign-off and the factory samples that goes into e-com and photography, some benefits starting to be experienced on the marketing and sales. But again, any changes required causes us to go back the chain in the same linear process to the original person potentially sometimes. But yet again, at the end of the process, we do get to factory production and e-commerce. Now, in between each and every step, if it's a 2D, it's a manual one, or 3D, a digital, it is restricted to a specific skill set and a specific solution. Now, if the process is manual, it kind of makes things a little worse. When we look at the ORCID's way, this platform being a rounded up process, you can tell how all the rest of the players are actually gravitating around the ORCID's core while removing location, skill set, attachment to a specific desktop license, and more. So at the same time, when 2D graphics designers are working on something, someone from merchandising and sales can already make good use of the content. And we'll see it just in a little bit when Brent is going to take over. And we're even going to share something with you, so to make it a little more exciting. Marketing can take advantage of it. The 2D apparel designers can take advantage of it. And again, everything gravitates around the ORCID process. Now, we do have some experiences that are coming in from companies that have been working with us in our beta group. So if you're interested, you're more than welcome. The address will be at the end of the presentation to join our beta program. One of the examples comes from Europe in a service bureau where they're using the ORCID's platform and inviting their brand customer to use it. But interestingly enough, the brand customer leveraged the same assets onward and into their customers. So the use case was 2 stages behind, or 2 steps behind where the content was created. There was already a good use of the 3D by companies and individuals who have not adopted 3D. And as a consequence, we're able to close an order. That's pretty cool. Crossing the pond all the way to the other side of the globe, and in Asia, a manufacturer brand that actually does both servicing of their own customers and their own line of products, using it in a set of pop-up booths that they have set up in Europe, in where content that's being created in one place in Asia is leveraged through this web platform in the other side of the globe to position products better to consumers. Again, this is on a retail level, let alone how they're servicing their customers using the same platform in collection presentations and so on. Over here in New York City, a brand that uses it, reporting that, hey, you know what, we no longer need to create a folder where all the print variants exist on the desktop, figuring out ways to share it, how to collaborate on it. All are added into a single print set. All the prints are added to a single print set. All the variants are in one place. And even when we communicate our content onto factories for true world scaling, so they'll know how to print the content, we solve that problem as well. So that's a wonderful third use case. And another one that reports is being used in a real world environment is doing early market validation, meaning using the content very quickly and collaboratively through this web platform where things are changing all the time, not being static. They were able to do early market validation, present collections, closing in and honing in on the solution, on the products they want to develop, and move on from there. So as you will see, when I'm going to pass the controls very soon to Brent, leveraging your 3D assets, the ones that are created in solutions such as Browseware and others, or maybe Clo, or maybe Optitex, those solutions are leveraged in ORCID's. We don't take over for what they do. We support what they do, but we put a lot more scalability into the process. And with that said, let's stop the words and get into the action. We're going to pass the controls over here to Brent Urbanski, who's going to show us how quickly he can work with creating variants in ORCID's in a collaborative way. Take it away, Brent.
Perfect. Thank you, Yoram. As Yoram stated, I am going to be playing the role of the 2D graphic designer today. Can I remind everyone to go full screen? There's a little button in the bottom right of this presentation that'll allow you to go full screen, and I think you'll see the what we're going to present a little bit better if you do that. So I'm going to quickly go back and present a slide that Yoram just showed. And I want to point out my role here as the 2D graphic designer in this demo, and touch on a few pain points that I would have in this traditional workflow and how ORCID's is better. So there are a lot of dependencies, as Yoram mentioned. I, as the 2D graphic designer, need the 3D apparel, or the apparel designers and the technical artists, to create a sample in order for me to be producing, placing, scaling my artwork that will be used in yet another factory sample for sign off. It's a bit of a laborious process. You actually have to print out your graphics off of a printer, tape them onto the physical sample, take pictures of that, send them over to the factory and what have you to best represent what I'm trying to achieve as an artist. Once that artwork is completed, I then need to create line art, which is yet another step that's a bit laborious and time consuming. So, and then a factory, like I said, another factory sample is produced, and then that goes to marketing and merch and sales. And if they're not happy with that, we have the potential to go back 1, 2, 3 steps further back and creating another round of samples. So in Orchids, that's greatly simplified, and that's we're working off one web-based platform in 3D. So as a 2D designer, all I need is for the apparel designers to give me a 3D model, or the technical artists give me a 3D model, upload it into Orchids, and then I go in and work my magic on that 3D model. So let me take you over to Orchids and show you how that's done. So let me go into this t-shirt I've set up. It's a blank white t-shirt. Let's pretend that's my 3D
Brent, I
apparel
think
designer.
Share. Oh, good. Sorry. Thank you.
My 3D apparel designer has pre-configured this product for me. So all I need to do is come into the design tab here, take a look around the product. Could select some colors if I would like, just to get started. And then I also, as the graphic designer, have the access to this components tab. This components tab is going to allow me to go into the different components of the product and apply prints and graphics, which I'm going to show you now. So if I click on this shirt body, I'm presented with a print set option on the right-hand side. From here, I can start to add my prints quickly. I'm actually going to allow my stakeholders the ability to upload prints themselves. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to show you how it's done. And then the prints I can either select from my device or from a library. And I'm just going to, for time's sake, I'm going to show you how they're added from a library. And I'm quickly going to start adding prints here. Just like so. Maybe I'll add just a couple more. And you know what? I'm going to add some that are colorizable as well. Let's do a vertical stripe and maybe a horizontal stripe. Yeah, let's start with that. I'm going to save that work I've just done. And now that I have these graphics prints quickly added to my base chassis, I can elect to go in and start to play with the scale, offset, rotation. I can try to show you really quickly how that works, how easy it is to scale graphics, offset graphics to get their position just right, rotate them if you care to. You can adjust the color intensity. And then the print application can also be adjusted. Let me click over on this graphic, which is a good representation of this. Let me see, zoom in here. So as you can see, we've got our base t-shirt fabric showing through. And we can actually elect to show more of that base fabric coming through by reducing this print application. So this gives us the effect of a sublimated print over the top of or embedded into a material. or I can make it thicker, and as I get thicker, you'll see the print turns more into a screen print or something that's applied to the top of the fabric, which is a really cool feature. And you know what, let me also show you how we can apply color. So if you upload a graphic or a print that is white, and even if it has transparency, it'll show the base fabric through. But if it's white, you can colorize that print. So I'm going to select some colors from my color library here. I'm just going to add them all for simplicity's sake right now. Do the same with the horizontal stripe, make it colorizable. Add all my colors. I'll hit save. Oops. All right, so then we go back out to the design tab and show you what we've just done. We just added the shirt body print, which I can quickly click through these options. I want to get down to these stripes. I can actually pick colors on these. Here's the option also to upload graphics if you want to allow your stakeholders or users the ability to upload their own graphics. So another feature we have is, as an artist, I would like to add some graphics. In order to do that, I click on a piece of geometry. Now that geometry will allow me to add a graphic set. And for time's sake, I've already pre-configured a few graphics in here. Just to show you how quickly we can do this. Let me zoom in on this graphic. I actually want to show off also how the fabric is showing through on this print, or on this graphic, and it functions similar to the prints in that you can control the opacity or the thickness of this graphic like you do on a print. So if I want to make this look like a screen print, all I have to do is up this thickness level here. Another really cool feature is we can have an embroidered effect. So if you want to make an embroidery look like it's dimensional, we have the ability to add additional 3D maps, such as normal texture, specular texture, reflection, environment, and so on. But for this particular effect, we just added a normal texture and a specular map. And in here, we can actually control, make it look debossed or embossed with this normal strength slider here, which is pretty cool. So let me go back out. So now that I have my prints and graphics set up, I go back out to the design tool. Now this is where either I myself or any other stakeholder can come in and create what we call variants, variations of these products. So if I like what I have right here, actually let me play with the colors a little bit. I'll make a gray one really fast. I can call this Design 1. And just like that, I'm able to start saving out my designs. Let's choose another print. Oh, that's not very attractive. Try to make something a little nicer here. Select a different graphic. Let's call this Design 2. Do this, make it white. Actually, let's add some blue waves. White, we'll call this one Design 3. And as you can see, it's really quick and easy for me to create and create designs and share them with people much faster than it would be in that linear traditional method that we were showing you before. So now that I have some designs set up, we have a few various ways in which you can share these designs with people of these variants. One is with the snapshot tool down here. It allows you to quickly save out a PNG image with transparent background in these 3 different file sizes, or you can save out a turntable, a 9 rotation turntable view in the same sizes. Let's see. You can share in an assortment board, like we've done here with these custom slip-ons. We have the shoe and then the print behind them. So it allows you to create an assortment board for a season or any other way you'd like. You can invite users to the platform so they can jump into this product itself and do their own variants or review and approve your variants you set up for them. And another way we can share is with a public link. So I'll pop back into this product. So I'll change this product from private to public. And when I do that, I'm presented with a new tab here that says public. And from there, I can elect to share this link for a predetermined duration. So let's do 3 days for now. And all I have to do now is just copy this link and paste it in a new browser window, or share this with somebody and they would paste it in a browser window. And then this is what they're presented with. They can click through my designs that I've created for them. Or they can upload their own graphics and prints here as well. So with that, Joram, did I miss anything that you think we should be sharing, or are we good?
Oh, I think we're good. I think we did a good job here. I'll take over and share my screen one more time. Thank you very much, Brent, for that. There we go. I hope you get to see my screen. So first thing, I'm also having the original slide that Brent was using, the one I handed off you over to Brent with, which is looking back at the traditional workflow versus the ORCID's way. And in the 15 minutes that Brent had for us, these 15 minutes did save us 15% or more. So I think if you saw how quick Brent was using the ability to place prints and graphics and whatnot. And if we summarize this, we achieved multiple things here, as I'm going to ask Brent to share the link to the public product that he just created in the chat window. So you will be able to click on it in the same place where we hope you got your questions already lined up. So you will see that link over there. Click it and see and experience the product on your screen as you listen to me summarizing. So what did we achieve over here? We achieved greater speed. And the big emphasis here is on separating the process between product creation, which is done in the traditional 3D tool, and the visualization that can be done in ORCID's. You know, the two processes currently run in a linear way, the same way the graph up on the top is showing, and we're dependent either on the same person or on the person before us. But when you work with ORCID's, I can do one thing while the 3D artist or the 3D person working in any of the 3D authoring tools can do their job. They're gaining speed, you're gaining speed. That way, together, you create two areas of value. As well as, and we also achieve that greater speed by having the process gravitate, as I mentioned, around the ORCID's core application not being fragmented. And the good thing, we did it all in real time. We also achieved collaboration by using ORCIDs. So the same content commented and worked on by the many. We'll focus on that topic in a future webinar of ours in a little more details on how great collaboration can happen. But Brent already shared the link with you to kind of show a little taste of what you can do without being attached to a particular place. We achieved communication and clarity by using ORCIDs. Everyone is logging in to the same place. How great is that? We also achieved happiness because this is a process that can be executed, as you just saw, with no special skill set, no special training, knowing anything in particular in order to operate this software, allowing your 3D, now that we looked at the two areas of value, the creation, the visualization, to be at least 4 to 5 times faster, leveraging still your existing core traditional models that were developed in the 3D authoring tool. And the fun part of it all is we achieved mobility, as this thing works in the web. So PCs, Macs, tablets, or anything that carries a web browser, even a phone to a certain degree, will be able to operate certain components of this software, naturally not all the editing ones. But mobility is the name of the game these days. We need to be on the road. We need to be, at our homes or offices or whatnot. I wish we were more on the road, but you get the picture of where I'm taking it. And I can keep counting additional blessings in how ORCIDs helps your business, but we'll leave those for a future webinar where we'll focus on a different area of the application. So I see we have some a question or one or two on the chat window, but I know we also received few questions over email as the demo was going through. I'll stop here, leave this slide on the screen, and ask Monica maybe to read the questions out loud, and between Brent and myself, we'll answer those for you. So thank you for those who send the questions in.
Thank you to Yoram and Brent for their amazing presentation of the ORCIDs platform. I'm going to start with one of the questions that we got in the chat. It says, can you use any graphic file type for rescaling?
Brent, I think this one is for you.
It needs to be an image-based file right now, but in the very near future, you'll be allowed to load vector-based files, Illustrator files or SVGs. But currently, it's image-based files.
Great.
Perfect. From another questions that we got via email is, can ORCIDs be actually used as a CMS or as a DAM?
Yeah, I think I'll take this one. I think great question. I'm been promoting the notion that ORCIDs, because the fact that it resides on the web and because it serves multiple endpoints within the organization, and it stores your files in there. So if you have your inspiration files, your sketch files, your Excel sheets, maybe even the pattern file, and if you have a PLM, then maybe you source those files from there. And if you do not have a PLM, then this system serves as that content management system or a single point of distribution for all your assets if you need to share them inside the organization, inside the company, or outside. We also compress your files very heavily, which is another great reason why you want to use ORCIDs, because mobility of 3D files, as we may know, is pretty problematic. These files are big, all right? So we want to be able to distribute them to multiple endpoints. Look at ORCIDs at the core of it as a data asset management, DAM, or content management system. They go interconnected in many ways here. Thank you. Great question.
Another question that we have here is, where have you seen the best use case for the output of the process that we just saw?
Yeah, another great one. I think personally, I've seen it happening in multiple endpoints within the organization. I saw it in sales needing to create a curated collection, the likes of this assortment that Brent was sharing with you very briefly there on the screen. We'll focus on that in a future webinar. But A sales presentation that needs to happen in front of a customer. We need to travel, not necessarily. Now we can actually have it all done online. We can change prints, we can change graphics, we can change products, we can combine multiple of them together. That's one way to do it in assortments. I also seen it happening to you through a curated collection. So Brent shared a single product with you, but we can actually share the curated collection with tags that actually help you look at what area I want to focus my buyer on. I've seen merchandising people working with it to create, again, a collection of products and deciding on how quick or which one they want to bring into the market. I've also seen companies that are starting to work on a calendar that has no chance of being developed in just doing 3D modeling and all the print placement and graphics in the classic way. But when they split the process, they saw their design merchandising benefiting from it. And while more content was developed, so there is now justification for all those great 3D licenses that they're buying because the process finally scales. So along those lines, there is really much more. You got to really think about this as an extension of what you do, not a replacement or duplication of what you do. Great question. Thank you.
Thank you, Yoram. We got another question in the chat. He's asking, can you show product on an avatar?
Absolutely. And one of the functions that Brent, because we wanted to keep him to the 15% or more, 15 minutes, I meant, we didn't show a lot of the other functions in the software. One of them is with and without, I call it, in a very loose way. With the avatar, without the avatar. With footwear, without footwear. Everything that we consume from the 3D authoring tool is available for you to play with buttons, no buttons. With stitches, no stitches. With a pocket, no pocket. Absolutely, the answer is yes.
Perfect, thank you. Oh, we got another question over here. Is it possible to embed the share link in an iframe? This way, the share feature would be used as a public configurator.
First thing, I'm happy with the appetite that the audience is developing. There is definitely more we need to show you. We're keeping it for future webinars, but in very short, the answer is absolutely yes. Iframe or source line codes, or known as HTML line codes, embed them into your Miro presentations, embed them onto your website, embed them in an internal website. Absolutely, the options are there.
Another question that we have here is, the material look and feel is really good. Thank you. Where does the material come from?
Yeah, Brent, I'll throw this one to you.
There are various ways of getting your 3D materials in here. One way is to use Substance Source or Substance by Adobe. But you could also get these materials from photography-based solutions. I won't go into the details here, but Substance is the best way to get your materials. Or you could even get them out of your 3D apparel authoring tools.
Exactly.
Those come pre-configured with a lot of really nice materials. And when you import your product into Orchids, those materials come along with the model.
Which is exactly a wonderful way to work. You're leveraging what you already created in the authoring tool and able then to store it into your library. If you remember, Brent was using a library to use for graphics and prints. We have exactly the same library for your materials. So a single place where everything is hosted and shared by everyone.
Perfect.
I want to, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I just wanted to say thank you for all the questions.
Yeah, and I was about to say thank you. So we're on the same page here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I know we went a little over time, but great questions and really great presentation, Brent. Stay tuned for our future webinar, upcoming webinar series, in where we'll focus on other areas of value of Orchids. And if you are interested in trialing out our software and getting on our early access group, do follow the link, orchids3d.com. And I think from over there, you'll figure it out. If you want to copy this link, you can. If not, we'll probably put it for you in the summer email. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a wonderful rest of your day and week. And of course, more than anything, stay safe and well.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.